It's looking like a swap meet around Indie Ball. Let's see who are the winners and losers of the deadline on this week's episode of the Indie Ball Report podcast. For the 335th time, this is the Indie Ball Report podcast brought to you by no one. We're looking for sponsors. Rye guy over there, how you doing?
I thought we were sponsored by Manscaped.
Not yet.
Were you just shaving me for fun?
For practice, yeah.
Just the boys getting after it, getting shaved up.
Freak.
It's a little deep in the season.
Underground. So there's been a lot of dealing. You'd think Monty Hall's a co-host on this show with the way we have deals flying around Indie Ball this week, because there's been a slew of transaction deadline deals going on, and so much so that we're dedicating a decent chunk of this show to talking about them this week. Also, we're going to bitch about the Jackals not being able to have water, although in fairness, this one's not really their fault, but they're going to eat it anyway because life's not fair. And then we got some playoff races to talk about. Also,
sometimes when you build your stadium somewhere where there's trash infrastructure and you know all in advance, it's kind of your fault when the infrastructure is a problem and you have to postpone and cancel games.
Right. You act like they should have known this from a 100-year-old ballpark.
Like we should have known this from a city that has a strong reputation for being run like a youth hostel for crackheads.
I mean, hey, at least we're not going to talk about how Rocky Mountain is currently stranding their players on the streets of Colorado Springs.
Well, I mean, at least they can sleep in the clubhouse, right? Right?
Don't worry, Padme. I'll be okay.
Don't worry. I'm sure those players even speak fluent English, at least. That would be crazy to put somebody who doesn't out there like that.
You mean to say to put ESL players on the streets in Colorado would be a poor look? Surely it's only the Vibe players and not the Skystock players or nothing like that.
Well, the good news is, like, okay, if we are going to forcibly make our foreign-born players and employees homeless while they're here on a visa, certainly we don't have anything, going on that would currently raise the likelihood of some sort of incident where they suddenly get deported without, really going through the proper channels, right?
Man, this does keep getting better and better, doesn't it? Pioneer League.
Don't worry. I'm sure a bunch of Latin dudes wouldn't stick out like a sore thumb wandering around Colorado Springs.
Get together, Pioneer League. Dear God, you're making the Pecos look good. You know how bad you got to fall to make the Pecos look good?
Bro. Honestly, by the way, the Colorado Springs Hispanic community is pretty big, so I'm just going to step in there before someone's like, actually, no, I know.
You want to talk about some deadline deals?
Yeah, man, sure. Now, I'm just going to be transparent. This wasn't necessarily the thing I was prepared to talk about today, and then you told me that's what we're talking about. I was like, oh, hell yeah. And then I was like, uh-oh. So, look, we're going to see how this goes.
Someone's about to be frantically pulling up Baseball Reference and Point Streak pages.
Just anxiety puking into my own shirt. Another proud chapter. Another proud trade deadline comes and goes.
All right. We're going to get the one real major American Association trade out of the way early, and then we will get into the slew of Frontier League transactions. And I do want to open up by saying thank you to the general managers of both the American Association and Frontier League for giving us a deadline to remember. Finally, we have people that are like, you know what? Transaction deadline? Well, let's make some fun stuff happen. Let's move some guys around and whatnot. And also, you can see in here how many people traded for a dude before asking, hey, dude, are you willing to play here?
No, dude, my favorite weird indie ball thing, man.
You have to frantically go, oh, shit, we got to move this guy quickly before other people find out.
It's just the number of times a guy ends up being like their own player to be named later just because they were like, hell nah, is really good. Yeah, I actually had a rugby teammate back in the day, and that is the Canadian team that traded for him. That's how they found out that he's not allowed in Canada. He's like, yeah, there's a reason I didn't come up to play you when we were on the road. It's like, damn, buddy. I think the league had to unwind that one. I got, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to jump headlong into the first one here, which is admittedly a fairly big one. Milwaukee moves out Eric Ostberg to Fargo Moorhead in exchange for Alec Oland, cash, and 3 players to be named later. That's probably the definition of a blockbuster in indie ball right there. You get a very high quality bat in exchange for a serviceable lineup piece, 3 player to be named players, which could literally be anything. That might as well be a draft pick in indie ball terms. And to get straight cash, homie, that is a nice little boost as well if you are Milwaukee. And also kind of signaled that they were very comfortable, pulling up on the reins on this horse and say, this is not going to happen for us playoff wise. Let's focus on next year. Let's get some more kicks at the can going into 26 as opposed to trying to salvage whatever the hell 25's turned into.
That is interesting too, because I think there's interesting dynamics with like indie ball and the situation with like, do you have guys next year? Do you not? It depends on the league, and we'll get in the semantics of contracts another time. But it is also an interesting sort of, I think, touchstone on how confident teams are that these guys will want to come back next year. Because sometimes you see guys get moved and you're like, oh, like you're feeling like, once this thing is up, they ain't coming back. It's interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah, that as somebody who's so interested in like the in the weeds stuff on any ball, like honestly, that actually piques my interest as much as anything else. But yeah, the Ostberg deal is a big one.
Yeah, I will say, as far as on-field performance, so far, Ostberg is struggling in Fargo. In 3 games, he's 1 for 11 with 2 walks and 7 Ks. Not a great look. You need to do a little bit more than a base hit here, but do I say the 69 games he played in Milwaukee are more of a quality sample size, we'll call it.
Mm-hmm.
Going into that, he does have 16 home runs. He has 54 RBIs, decent amount of strikeouts at 49, but he also had 40 walks to go along with it, so it kind of offsets, and he was hitting 309. So still a fairly high-quality bat in the lineup here, and that first series was against Sioux City, so it's not exactly like he was getting a slouch of a opponent to start teeing off against. He wasn't going up against, like, say, a Winnipeg or even his whole team in Milwaukee would probably be a good example of that too, where you're going to have a little bit easier of a time getting adjusted as opposed to, oh yeah, this is one of the best pitching staffs in the league. Have fun.
Yeah, I mean, I expect that to kind of
that would correct
regulate. Yeah, that's kind of where my head's at. But you do hate that moment where it's like, okay, like you love the, for what Harrison Bader, I think his first hit as a Philly was a homer, and everyone's like, okay, this is our new white guy. Fun. That's, how you'd like it to go, but can't always have what you want.
Yeah. I mean, like, here's what the Fargo is looking at the rest of the way here. And I mean, this is definitely a trade which I appreciate from Fargo. They're saying, hey, we're very hot right now. We're looking very strong. Let's go get a piece that's going to help us make a real push. Because frankly, you look at the East Division and like, you're kind of going, if we can get out of the West, this is our shot.
Right. So I agree.
Yeah. Which, I mean, this is a year to go for here. Now, the West is crowded. I think pretty much all 4 teams that are going to make the postseason from the West, you can make an argument that, hey, like, this is how they're going to get out of it. We'll talk more about that later on when we get into the actual, like, meat and potatoes of all of it. But I do agree with everyone that's buying right now. Now's your time. It's a crowded field, but there's a viable path for everybody. Any case, back to the point on Fargo's schedule.
Okay. Well, I was just going to say, because I also have a schedule point that I think will relate to what you're going for. My main thing with it too was I was impressed by this because while you're on that streak that Fargo was on with all their wins recently, they had the wherewithal to kind of go, I think, it's really easy to go, all right, we're cooking. Like, let's just run this thing into the playoffs. And we talked a bit about our concerns with them because of who they've been playing on that little hot streak. And I think it's really impressive that they seem to be able to look at this and go, there's still room for improvement. Like, this is not how the rest of the way is going to go. We need to be ready when this gets serious. So I was pretty impressed by that too. So sorry. Thank you. I will let you now go and make your point.
Yeah. No, and that's the thing here is now they've gotten through pretty much the meat of their schedule. They're going to have 3 against Cleburne. These are all home. These 3 against Cleburne at home, and then 3 at home against Gary. So that's a very nice segue for the next week. That's fairly easy and simple. Their penultimate away series is in Chicago. So that's not the toughest one at all. It's a weekend set, so you'll have that travel day to get back to Newman for your final home series of the year. That's against Winnipeg. That's a very winnable series. And then you finish up with 4 in Sioux Falls, which again is a great environment as a hitter. If you're struggling, that's get right territory right then and there. So he's going to have plenty of games the rest of the way to really sort this out and really find himself. There's 16 games left in the season. He's definitely got a lot of opportunities here. And this whole team really has a lot of opportunities to really keep gaining ground here. Realistically, they should be winning at least 10 of these remaining games, and I peg them more about 12 or 13.
That's fair.
Let's not forget, this rest of the lineup is still very strong, too.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's a strong lineup before this run. Like, I think when they were struggling a little more, we were kind of like, that was one where almost the annoyance with them was you can tell that they had more in the tank. It was just, where is it? And now it's really starting to deliver. I think it's coming together a little bit. And I think that's why it's a good move to get an additional lineup piece here and kind of help continue to tie things together. And again, if you think about it, I mean, that's 3 more times that, a lineup spot that you're not really confident in is not seeing the plate a minimum 3 more times in a playoff game. So
exactly. And the other part here that is a big addition here is he's a catcher, right? Yep. So you can put him right behind the plate. And you may look at their stats here and go, well, they already have Fernandez, and he's been playing very well. He's hitting very strong. Mm-hmm. He looks like a productive bat. Why would you want to take the bad lineup? Well, you don't have to. You could DH him because he has 10 errors behind the plate, which is, double digit as a catcher. I don't love that. But you can still leave his bat in the lineup to be productive, but in a position where he's not compromising runs. So now whoever was your DH, you move him to the bench, you just got that much more depth.
That's a good point. There are certain stats I wish we just had, and I don't think we do. But I always wonder about. It's not a perfect stat, but it is interesting, and I always wonder about the catcher ERA when it comes to just generally the things like this, like what are the catcher ERAs of the guys involved looking like, or how are they working with pitching staffs potentially? But it is what it is. I'll find it another day, perhaps. I mean, what else stuck out to you on this deadline here? Because I have a couple, but they're weird ones because I'm me and I get that.
Okay, so I have more, but they're all in the Frontier League, so I'm not sure if you have anything else for association.
My only one was Connor Langrel getting sent from Lincoln back to YOLO.
Yeah.
Disappointing year, man. And again, it's kind of a prime example when we talked about it last week, of yes, your top guys from the Pioneer League might come over and do really well in the American or the Frontier or the Atlantic, but a lot don't. Connor Langrel last year, 38 appearances, 45 innings, a 1.97 ERA, a sub-9 whip, a sub-0.9 whip, 46 strikeouts and 45 2/3 innings. I mean, fantastic. One of the best relief seasons we've seen since Pioneer League won Indy Ball. And I mean, him coming to Lincoln, I thought was a really cool, really good pickup by them. It just never happened. He had control issues throughout. He was getting hit around, giving up homers like at twice the pace as in the Pioneer League, which, think about it, I know YOLO is a pretty pitcher-friendly ballpark, but, it isn't that. He had only 30 innings and had a ERA hovering above 6, and he got sent back to YOLO. So I'm hoping, well, now Yuba, I guess, case may be. So I'm hoping that we see him kind of sell back in, find a groove, and kind of position himself to get picked up again, because I think he's an interesting guy who's got a shot. It's just, that was disappointing. And I was hoping, well, maybe, he had a lot of usage last year. Maybe he's worn out a little bit, but he threw a ton in 2023. Also, he covered like 60 something innings, I think. So yeah, that's a disappointing one for sure. That was something I was really looking forward to seeing how he performed. I thought Lincoln was a good situation for him. Yeah. And they gave him every opportunity, 29 different appearances. It's just, frustrating.
It's going to be a tough time adjusting the competition and just the amount of innings over the last couple of years catching up.
Yeah, maybe a bit, but we'll see how this goes and move back to the Pioneer.
Sweet. So let's go right to the Frontier League ones now that we have that out of the way. We're going to just kind of lump this in as a 3-team trade here. There's going to be a couple like that. They're not actually 3-team trades, but it's a situation where one of the players acquired almost immediately gets flipped. So it's in essence a 3-teamer. So Gateway moved Pavin Parks to Ottawa for Grant Larson. And then Ottawa almost immediately flips Parks for Robert Chaika from Washington. So essentially in this one, it is Gateway gets Grant Larson, Washington gets Pavin Parks, Ottawa gets Robert Chaika. An interesting little move here. Larson struggled in the beginning part of the year, but has started to figure it out a bit as of late in Ottawa and was a non-insignificant part of their push. Chaika has an up and down kind of player. He's a little streaky, but he has some value in the sense of when he's doing well, he's a productive outfield bat. Then likewise with Pavin Parks, he's a guy we've seen do very well before, and he's also a guy that we've seen just kind of be another dude. It all feels like we're moving a bunch of streaky players around, but when they're doing well, let me tell you about this guy.
Yeah, Parks and I think this is his fourth Frontier or fourth indie ball team in 2 years, which is love that
a lot.
You know, I get people don't love moving, but hey, you like this, you know.
Yeah,
do it. If you're going to do it.
The miles on that car.
The deal makes sense from everyone's perspective. I think we can kind of see how they reached it. Any thoughts on the big winners here? Or
I mean, I think, like I said, it's all pretty even here. I would say if you can get Larson and have him pitching for you, and you get the guy like we saw last year, I mean, that is by far the most productive part here. And we'll see how it winds up shaking out in Gateway for them. I do think it's kind of odd for Ottawa to do all that moving, you know. But
yeah, they made some odd moves, just in general. I don't know.
I do think it's more interesting that Ottawa kind of is like, maybe Grant's not coming back, or we feel so good about the fact that he's going to be back once that contract's up that we can kind of just let him go.
True.
Which Pavin, 3 for 6 through 2 games. Moving on up from Evansville to Gateway to Washington now, so he's working out.
Well, dude, I'll jump off that to bring up my moving up guy here.
Yeah.
Greg Duncan.
Yes,
Greg
that
Duncan,
was one of the trades we're going to get to.
Yes, dude.
I was like they were up next. Yeah.
Crazy, because he was a Black Sox guy. I was at the one tryout where he was throwing, Scalabrini was there. And I wonder if, did he take a note on that one? I was looking at his paperwork, but I don't know. I find it interesting because his career, if you don't know, is gets out of college 2021, then goes to the Frontier and has a below average year, a very small appearance in the American that doesn't go well with Gary. Doesn't pitch in 2022. 2023, literally 2/3 of an inning with Winnipeg, gets shelled. Makes an appearance in Mexico for like 26 innings. So he did get some work, but didn't go well. Goes to Gastonia, doesn't go well. This isn't in order. I think Mexico is at the end of the year. But then he goes to Windy City and makes the most of it, 12 innings, so 1.5 ERA. And then sticks in Windy City for this year and has a sub-4 ERA over 82 innings of work. Really impressive. And now he's going to Quebec. It's kind of like, dang, that's the indie ball climb there, the rise and fall. And then now he's back up.
Like right now, he's throwing what we call around these parts of the Grom type season where great ERA,
2
great
and 8,
numbers.
I know.
2 and 8.
But for the wrong team, buddy.
Exactly. Like he has had one bad start here. Arguably 2 if you want to include the one against Jersey where he gave up 4 and 6 innings. But really it's just that Florence start right before where he gave 6 and 4 2/3. Like that's not a good start. Everything else really has been solid. Mississippi 3 and 3 1/3, like more than that. He really doesn't get any length against Mississippi. But everything else, he's pretty damn consistent. He's going to give you about 6 innings of work, and he's going to keep it under 4 runs against. So, like, hey, that's what you really need. And we were talking recently about the issues with Quebec's rotation, and this is a solution to it, certainly. and just because we haven't mentioned it yet, Greg Duncan goes from Windy City to Quebec in exchange for Franklin Parra and a player to be named later. Don't worry, though. Franklin Parra is part of a 3-team trader, as we just covered with the Gateway move, because Windy City then flipped him for a player to be named later to Lake Erie. So essentially it works out Greg Duncan to Quebec, Franklin Parra to Lake Erie, 2 players to be named later to Windy City. Which, hey, again, if you're Tobin Hall, you got to start building your team. This is now formally yours. You're going to have to put your identity on it. To what degree it already was the case, don't quite know, but let's say clean start year for him. Let's move some guys out, get some new guys in here. Also, kind of give some other dudes opportunity here. Although it definitely feels like Franklin Parra was like, I'm not doing that. Let me pitch where I got a chance.
Like that, right?
Yeah, it definitely feels like that. And like, I want to say I can't blame him, but also like, dude, this is the deal. And the same hand, it's like going from a team where you won a championship with and are a contender against to like, yeah, we're running out the clock. Gotta be rough. At least with Lake Erie, it's a playoff fight. There's a viable route to a championship. And like from their perspective, just another arm to throw in there. Like I would like to see them get a bat instead. But more arms is not a bad thing. Everybody would like to have one more arm.
Yeah, I'm with you. I have a couple more, but I'm looking for. I'm playing the game of which guy am I looking?
Yeah,
like,
I have
do
two
I have
more.
the right one?
Yeah.
All right, go for it. Oh, it's not the guy I was looking at. Damn.
Yep. So I guess we'll go to the other. Yep. Right now, Parr is on the disabled list in case you're wondering. So will eventually get his chance to play, but not quite yet. Which, by the way, interesting little thing I just noticed while going to the Lake Erie roster. You know who's been added there as their pitching coach?
Who?
Mark Mason.
Mace.
Yeah. So Alfredo Gonzalez is the hitting coach, Jared Lemieux the manager, and Mark Mason the pitching coach.
I kind of like that energy out there.
Yeah, Hank Gonzalez is also their assistant coach there. So makes sense. Mace is part of that group, and he gets out of there. That's a great voice to have in the room.
Yeah, I'm happy to hear that.
Exactly. So he landed on his feet just fine. I guess we'll get to the other big meaty kind of trade here. This is a couple trades put together. Schaumburg moves out Eric Turner and future considerations to Windy City for Caleb Rydell. Future considerations and the big prize of the deadline, Buddy Pindell.
Who just casually shows up and tosses a complete game. Welcome to town. That'll play.
Isn't that fun? Is this not like, before we get into the actual players involved in it, because Schaumburg got 2 very good pitchers here. Is this not Schaumburg saying, you know what? We feel like everything's wide open right now. Let's go in on it.
So, yes, first of all, but how about how nice that is, right? You're Schaumburg. You're on one of your longer, further from home type road trips, hanging out. You got 3 with New York on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Get the deal done. Get Pindell in on Tuesday. And like you could use it. You're on the East Coast again. You're far from sort of your recruiting base for the most part. You got to get some wins to stay up in the standings, and the new guy comes in and just tosses a complete game for you. So basically, your bullpen just had 2 full days off. Oh man, like do it up, brother.
Yeah, and like,
and by the way, Buddy's last 3 starts, 8 innings, no earned, 8 innings, none earned, 9 innings, 2 earned. Gross.
And the Celtics one, you only had 2 Ks.
Who needs them?
Yeah,
strikeouts are fascist.
Yeah, realistically, you want to look through his season. I mean, how many bad starts does he have? The one against Gateway where they just kind of teed off. And honestly, good on him. He sat there and ate a stinker for 6 2/3. That's just being a good dude.
By the way, here's the funny thing. He gave up 5 runs in 6 2/3. Bad start. But frankly,
not that
a lot of teams, you're still in the game. This offense probably should be able to help him compete most times if he can do that, but whatever. And then I think, you got to go back to
June 11th against Florence, where he gave up.
June 22nd was a dumpster fire in a weird way.
Got chased early, but yeah, I mean, that just looks like a case of he threw a lot of pitches and they yanked him from that. But
Yeah.
I think it's probably more of a byproduct from the 11th start against Florence, where he gave up 10 in an inning and 2/3.
Yeah, it was weird.
So that's just not. I mean, to put it into perspective, how bad that start was. Walking into the day, he had an ERA of 3.19. He walked out in the ERA of 5.79.
Yeah, I mean, you don't love that necessarily,
Yeah,
but
he's been kind of climbing out of that whole sense. But I mean, this is a dude that last year was arguably pitcher of the year worthy. It was him and Sandberg really at the end of the day, and lost out to Sandberg. But like, this is a guy that's shown that he can pitch. We know he can pitch. He's gonna give you innings. He's not gonna strike out a lot of guys, so it's just like he can move the ball in such a way that it's not gonna be a problem. Yeah, he's a pitch to contact kind of guy, but you know what? So far in over 100 innings pitched, he has less than 20 walks, so that's gonna play. And this is he's gonna give you depth. He's gonna give you so much more to work. And honestly, there's an argument to be made that he's not even the best pitcher they got, because Rydell out of the bullpen is phenomenal too.
Yep, agreed. And that's worth discussing as well. But I will point out, if you take away that one blow up start with Florence, that 10 runs on 10 hits in an inning and 2/3, he's got a 2.52 ERA for the season, over 100 innings. So, works. I'm also curious from this perspective. So let's see how he's done. Looking at his starts here, got Gateway, Washington, Lake Erie. So if we're looking at teams that are currently in the playoffs in that league, like that Schaumburg might run into. Washington, he just threw 8 shutout innings or 8 one-run innings, no earned. Gateway, where he had that funky start with 5 earned over 6 2/3 we just talked about. And then Gateway again, 7 innings, 2 earned. I mean, Quebec, 6 innings, 1 earned, different league, but still. But then interesting little adding of Washington, just like 3 innings, 1 earned to start the year. So like he's done well, especially against Gateway, who is a likely team that you're gonna have to deal with, and one that you're racing down the stretch here for the division win. So strategically smart move.
And this is going to help you really solidify that rotation, because they realistically had 3 guys all year. It was Turner for a while. He wasn't quite getting the job done. Salata, who devil number ERA there with the 6.66. And then Cole Cook with the 4.20 blaze it ERA there. But I mean, Cole Cook's
dude, what a squad. The boys are partying.
Now you have Pindell, who's the ace of your staff. They brought back Christian Lopez as well, who is going to do very well. However, he has 1 start of 5 innings, 5 innings of 2-run ball. 2-run ball. And you add Cole Cook. That's a solid enough 1, 2, 3. And everybody else can just kind of fill in around there. You feel like Matos can also give you some length there. He's relatively new to starting, so he's been going about 6 innings, but that feels comfortable enough. And Johnson, who's been getting in there as well, too. That's a decent enough rotation where you feel fine walking into the postseason, especially because you're figuring mostly going to be 3 or 5 game series. So you really just need like 3 good starters, and you have that. You have the length there. So they really did address a lot here. I appreciate Mike Larson and Jamie Bennett. We're really saying, all right, we're going to go in. We're going to get this done. We're going to make our push. This is absolutely a great thing to see on that front. And likewise, to switch over to Rydell, I mean, that adds another great arm in the bullpen here.
And a lefty. They didn't have a lefty arm.
Oh, wow. So that's even bigger of a get here. You have him now. You have Stutzman. You have
Cook, and that's it.
Yeah. You have those, your big 3 horses. Plus, you also add in White, who's still here as well. That's 4 really nice arms out of the bullpen. And if you figure your starter can give you 5, 6 innings, which now they have 3 guys that absolutely can do that, running those 4 out there with one of them getting a day off while the other ones go 7, 8, 9, that keeps the boys fresh. It keeps them throwing, and that's some nice depth to have here. There's other pieces in this bullpen, and you figure you're probably going to wind up moving 1 or 2 of the guys that are currently in the rotation into the bullpen so they can give you length if need be too, to rest some of these other guys. It lines up very well. Schaumburg's done a lot of work here to really kind of say, no, we're going for it this year. The West is ours.
Yeah, and Rydell brings something else to the table, which is, as a former starter, he's averaging like 2 innings per outing right now. So, I mean, he can handle that sort of workload. He's closed for Windy City throughout this year a bit, and I mean, in limited appearances, trying to get saves because Windy City. But he's still getting it done. He hasn't. I think he's got a 7 outing streak of scoreless outings right now. That's like 13, 14 innings in there. So like they got him at the right time too, man.
Yeah, no, they definitely did here. And I mean, you figure if he's good for 2, if you say Pindell goes 6, Rydell gives you 7, 8, you now have your pick of who you want to run out there for 9.
Right.
That's how this rolls, which, let's see, can we tell? Probably be White. He has 9 saves, so that would tell me White's probably the guy they're going to go for that. But you have the flexibility, you have the options.
Now also, yeah, I mean, if they got a chunk of lefties coming up, well, there you go.
Yeah, you roll there. I mean, that's why I honestly think that's my favorite move here. And I'm kind of like, it has to be a situation where you said, okay, we don't feel like Pindell's going to be back in Windy City, whether that's he doesn't want to be back, whether that's he's going to be going to Mexico, whether that's he's going to try to move up to the Atlantic League or the American Association, whatever it might be. Hey, we might as well get something here, and Turner is definitely something. He's not nothing, and future considerations also helps too. So I don't quite understand everything here, but hey, some other team's loss is their gain.
It definitely feel the forethought in this move. Like it was actually solving something and not just getting like whoever they thought was the best available guy they could actually get.
Yeah, no, I definitely like it. And if they could retain one or both of these guys for next year, that also really, really helps. I only have one other move left written down here. It's definitely more of a minor one, but it's one of those kind of like low-key moves that happens at the deadline. Nobody really talks about it. And then we get into like the second round of the playoffs, and you're like, oh, wow, this dude's shoving. Where'd he come from? Oh, yeah, he was picked up late. And that is Tri-City picking up Jalen Long for a player to be named later. Was a starter in New Jersey. So far, looks like it's being used out of the bullpen.
Dude, great news for him.
Yeah. Talk about moving up.
All right.
Go from the basement where you don't have any water to, oh, yeah, we're in Tri-City here. So, like, got to pack my running shoes, but I may be playing for a championship. So there's a give and a take. Any event with this guy here, he started 10 of his 13 games in New Jersey. He's only thrown in 1 game so far for Tri-City, but he was perfect in that outing. Walked 1, hit 1, and allowed 1 hit. I shouldn't say he hit anybody, but faced 8 batters and none of them came across the score. That's what you're looking for here. He's been fairly solid so far this year. Had a couple of shutouts against some lesser quality teams. Against the better quality teams, he's done fairly well. I'd say probably his best start of the year came at the end of June against Sussex. 6 innings of 1 earned run, 6 hit ball. Had some more questionable starts as of late, but hey, generally speaking, he can do just about anything you need him to do. I think he probably gets the long reliever treatment in Tri-City here, but that bolsters the depth again. And if he's the first guy out of the bullpen, that's a nice first guy to have.
Yeah, agreed. Strategic move from Tri-City. Honestly, again, a team that, I'm interested to see and encouraged to see the level of aggression from teams who have been historically close, but not winning at all type teams. And I think that's really interesting. I mean, not to say Quebec isn't wheeling and dealing, because I think they had more moves than anybody around this time, this year. But it's good to see again Tri-City, who is they've made really no secret about them being an organization who wants to win. Yeah, and I think that's why you bring Taggart in. That's what you're looking for.
You picked an experienced guy that can work.
Knows how to make the connections and make the deals you need.
Exactly. That's the one thing you got to pride them on. They know what kind of energy you need. Now, we were, and I think to a degree still are, a bit critical of that decision just because of how it ended with Gary. But hey, so far it's working out just fine. Made the postseason last year. was a short stay, but hey, most teams don't make it in the Frontier League, so just to make it and keep it close says something here.
Yeah.
And the fact of the matter is, as we'll discuss in just a moment, they're kind of nipping on Quebec's heels at the moment. They're chipping away at that lead that they had. I mean, it's still pretty far out with like 18 games left to play. They're 5 back.
Yeah, it's 5. I mean,
so like, it's not really quite there, but hey, it's closer than we thought it'd be. And if they were in the East Division, they would be leading that division. And quite frankly, I'd feel pretty damn good about them winning it.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I mean, I'd say I'd be more intrigued by that plot line if they had a series left with Quebec. Unfortunately, they don't. Though, boy, that playoff matchup would be really good. Because I think we talked about last week, I think, that, Quebec has a losing record against Tri-City, so they do have their number.
I mean, it's still very well possible.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because right now you figure what? Boulders will be going to Quebec and Tri-City will be going to Sussex County. Right now, do we feel like either East Division team is better than their North Division counterpart?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
So I was trying to think of the angles, and I've been like,
right now, I can't see it.
Yeah, I mean, Sussex entire season currently is dependent on the fact that they beat up on Down East and Brockton every time they play them.
I mean, you got to beat the teams you're supposed to beat, but
right. I know, but I'm saying like when it comes to, because I was looking at Sussex, I'm like, well, they're on a bit of a run right now, but they're on a run because they're playing bad teams. They were on a run the other way when they're playing like playoff, some bad teams again, and some playoff caliber teams. I think that's more what we could expect to see in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, like good win against Schaumburg tonight. That was a quality win. I'll give them that. But
yeah, but that was also to salvage the third game after losing the first 2. So
realistically, if you are Sussex here, and I guess this is kind of, unless you have another trade you want to bring up here, this is kind of the perfect segue into the playoff races here. They need those last 6 games to really go their way against Quebec, at Quebec, and then that final home series against New York. If you could win like 4 of those 6 and build some momentum against some quality opponents going in, would really help the cause.
Yeah, I mean, I was just a little bit surprised to see Christian Anoa get let go. He was hitting almost 300 for Quebec.
Yeah, he got moved to
Ottawa? By Ottawa, yeah. But
to be named later.
That was an interesting one. So, but yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. But let me double check one more time here. Yeah, I mean, I guess you got Crowell. The infield's barely full. So it makes sense, but anyway.
Also, bonus points too for Quebec bringing in David Mendham. I like David Mendham a lot as a player.
I'm with you there.
So I like that one. Joliet bringing in Ernie Ortiz could be interesting as well. It's not going to help him this year, but just going forward there. Also, things get rougher if you're New Jersey. Not only did you just trade your best pitcher, arguably your best bet, and Luis Acevedo is now on the Visa inactive list. So it's about to get worse in case you didn't realize. Let's see. Robbie Hick coming back to the minors.
Well, yeah, I guess it's just because they went to Canada.
Yeah, so it'll be kind of rough for them for a few days, but whatever. Robbie Hick going back to Sussex is interesting as well. Elijah Pleasance is also an interesting pickup there by Mississippi. The draft. Yes, so those races are heating up on the Frontier side just to keep things interesting there. New York and Tri-City, that series really was kind of an eye-opener for me just because I always viewed them as kind of equals. They both got hot at the same time. They're beating similar teams and whatnot. And I was like, oh, they're pretty much like mirrors of each other. And then they walk in this week and Tri-City just kind of handled them.
Yeah. I think we learned a lot about that division, if I'm honest.
Yeah. It's not the highest quality of team there. And frankly, the Boulders are kind of lucky they walked out of that second half of the doubleheader with a win here. I mean, like they were up early. They were up 3 in the first. gave 2 back in the second, let it become tied in the third, got it back in the fourth, gave it up in the sixth, and then they walked it off in the seventh for that second half of the doubleheader there. So, I mean, they were kind of controlling it, but like same point in time here, the boys, you keep giving up leads. It's not a great sign.
Yeah. And I'm not going to, we'll have plenty of time to discuss this. We've discussed it previously, but
yes.
Boy, that East Division is really rough because every time Sussex or New York has to go play a real team, I feel like they have a rough time. And then meanwhile, there's Down East, who I think has lost like, I want to say 14, 17-ish, 9 of the last 10. They're 30-49. They've had a really rough second half, which look, they're new. It's going to happen. But you also wonder how bad that 30-49 would be if they didn't also have the Jackals, who are worse than them by several games in their division. So, yeah. My thought is, and this may be something we need to be still locked in on, is Ottawa is still sniffing around New York.
I just think it's a really tough climb if you're Ottawa. I think the schedule works against them. Plus, they kind of are making moves where it's like, look, we're not pulling up on it. But
Ottawa had 6 against New York left here, bud.
And I think New York's a better team than they are.
But in between that, they have Trois-Rivières, Brockton, and then they do finish with Tri-City, who might be checked out by them.
Or if you're Tri-City, you're going all in because Quebec stumbled and you said there's blood in the water.
Maybe, but last series is bad timing for that. They're probably more focused on setting that pitching up in my mind. So New York's perspective, they have 4 against Tri-City. That's tough. They do have 3 against Down East, and then they have 3 against Sussex, who let's see how much that's worth. Dude, I don't know. I think Ottawa could. We'll see. We'll know after this weekend.
I think
but it's what, 3.5 game lead, and they have 6 to play just head to head.
We'll see it, but I just don't know if I see Ottawa doing it.
Yeah, I mean, and I know, and I was the person who was talking up New York taking Sussex, but the more I see about Sussex and New York, I'm like, man, Ottawa could get them. Ottawa's, Ottawa does tend to handle business against bad teams. They just swept Florence. They did get beat by Trois-Rivières, which is a weird one, but then I guess they kind of split that series in a weird way.
Yeah.
Took 3 from Quebec. What the hell is that about? And then, they're winning series for the most part against bad teams, which is kind of what they need to do the rest of the way. And we'll see.
Flip side on the West there, Mississippi's still hanging around a little bit. They're kind of out of it because everyone else is sitting at 47. They're at 40. But they are keeping it kind of interesting. They're going to need help, though.
So you'll give that credence, but you won't give the 3.5 game difference.
I am so out on Ottawa. That's the difference.
Yeah, I mean,
and I've seen each one of these Midwest teams that are at the top here screw up in the last 2 weeks. Like, we just spent a lot of time gassing up Schomburg for making moves and make a play. They're still 3-7 in their last 10 and played a lot of very uninspiring baseball. Gateway's been eating pace for the better part of 10 days, despite a 4-6 record in that stretch. And like Washington still is not like a comprehensive ball club because they're not winning on the road. And I don't care about wins against Sussex or against Three Rivers. That means nothing to me. Of which, without those, you're losing record on the road. And then Lake Erie still finds the concept of hitting the baseball a dubious proposition at best. So, like, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like any of those teams are perfect right now. On the flip side here, Ottawa has to go through most likely New York, who has a far better series and wins one of these series against them and pretty much puts that nail in the coffin.
True. I mean, I'm with you. Mississippi, I don't know. Their schedule's definitely weird. Could go a lot of different ways.
I will admit losing one there to Evansville tonight.
That sucks.
They're losing back-to-back Evansville, who really does kind of put a damper on that. Because that was really the series where it's like, you got to have that. Flip side, of course, though, being you got 4 against Florence, should be winnable in an ideal world. And then you have Lake Erie, Washington, and Gateway also on there, which are all teams you got to pass so you can make up some ground there. And then you end with Windy City. So if it's a foot race to the end, that's a beautiful track to have.
Yeah, you're right.
That's why they're not out of it. The schedule, while difficult, is exactly what they need.
Right. I still can't believe you're giving Mississippi more credence than Ottawa. That's all. Bothered. You and I are on two different pages on that one.
I'm just saying, I like the way the schedule lines up here. It's a mixture of easy games and teams you got to beat. In a week from now, am I going to be saying this? Probably not, because they're probably going to lose one of those series. However, they win them both. They're right in the thick of things. They just need a little help.
See, that's what kills me. Is Ottawa can literally, they don't even need help.
And that's how
Ottawa just
little I
win games against New York.
and that's how little I believe in them.
Oh my God. I don't know what to do with you sometimes. People out here, man. Troubled individuals.
All right.
How have they done against each other? No. I'm still on this. Ottawa's 2-1, 4-2.
Buddy said we got to wrap this show up quick tonight. Now he's doing comparisons.
I mean, if they go 4-2 in these 6 games again against New York, like they did in the first 6, I mean, that puts them at 1.5 back with basically 9 to play.
They're still trailing with no games left. Cool.
No, they'll be fine. All right, we'll see. See what the weekend has.
So, last point of order on the Frontier League. Who are we feeling good about winning these divisions in the Midwest? Because we know what the deal is going to be over in the Atlantic. Oof, hate it. But in the Midwest, both of those are still very much for grabs. General thoughts on that?
I have to think Lake Erie probably wins just because they got games in hand. Man, it's like Schaumburg and Gateway. Neither team want to win it.
That's the thing, right? Like, I go Schaumburg because I like what they did at the deadline a bit more, and I think they addressed their issues a bit better.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, I mean, I'm not shocked either way. Neither one's playing good right now.
Yeah.
And the flip side is Lake Erie and Washington are both looking fairly solid. And right now, Lake Erie just has the edge because they played less games, essentially.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the question is with the extra games. I mean, what are the extra games? You know what I mean? They got 3 with Mississippi, 3 with Windy City, 3 with Schaumburg, 3 with Down East, 3 with so 12 of the 15 remaining games are against bad teams, basically. So I'm like, well, and mid to bad teams. Sorry, Mississippi. Yeah, I don't know. I think Lake Erie probably just has the easier path.
Yeah, I lean Lake Erie right now. Again, they also just got a little bit of help in the form of Para. So when he gets back, that also is a nice addition there. Washington.
Mason's devil magic.
Yeah. I mean, Washington added Pavin Parks. So, I mean, like, nice add, and he's been doing well, but still, I don't know. I lean a little bit more like Erie as of right now, but they're both pretty equal. Be curious to see how that
this is one where I do wonder weird things like how much does it matter that Gateway's done it before? Gateway's closed before. Lake Erie really has not been in this situation literally since I've watched any ball. So I'm kind of like, we'll see. I don't know if it's that important, but I'm just putting out there as I wondered maybe, what do you think?
Gateway struggled to finish it out.
Yeah.
So that does give me pause here. I'm still going Schaumburg. I'm related to that, but I do think that's an interesting angle to take. It'd be more interesting to me there if it was a less established manager than Steve Brook is. I feel like he did enough with River City in his time there and has seen enough to where I'm not really thinking the last couple of years are that impactful on the whole operation here.
Love you digging deep into the River City lore.
Gotta be getting Rascal work.
Dude, I'm on board. Yeah, anyway, where do you want to go from here?
I'm thinking American Association, just because I think we have a general understanding of how that's looking playoff race-wise here.
Yeah, we can kind of hit that quick.
Yep, Lake Country clinched tonight, Sioux City yesterday, meaning Wednesday. So we have those two locked in. They should be the respective division leaders and get to pick their opponent. That's not set in stone yet, but it looks to be on pace for that here. Formalities on everybody else. We know who's making this dance. We know the 4 teams that aren't going to make the dance here. My bigger takeaway is we have Cleburne and Kane County in a race to the bottom at the moment here, where realistically, if Milwaukee wanted to go for it, I wouldn't say they'd be out of it, but I mean, like, they're playing terribly too. So, like, hey, Gary, go get it.
Dude, I mean, this could be the first time without a travel team that Gary does not have the worst record in the league.
Yeah. I mean, like, for a good while, yeah.
I mean, legitimately, I mean, Lincoln is pulling off miracles against Sioux Falls, seemingly, but, you know, they won't be playing Sioux Falls forever.
Yeah, and, like, let's be real here.
Has any team solidified their first round exit quite the way Sioux Falls has over the past few days?
Yeah, really. Good God, that's looking bad.
Good Lord,
that's looking bad. I'm ashamed to guess them up 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, that aged poorly, but it's okay.
Very poorly.
Mostly the worst of us, but also the best.
You fooled me. I should have known better. What's pissing me off right now is I'm looking at Gary and I'm like, really, they're only a game and a half worse than Milwaukee, and Milwaukee's only 6.5 worse than what Kane County's doing right now.
Yep.
And that spot's looking like it could be very much in play. So in my head, I'm like, if they would have fired Lamar like a week earlier.
Yeah. No, dude, I know.
Because, like, if we're talking, like, quality of play right now, out of everybody in the East, you're going to sit here with a straight face and not tell me that Gary's one of the top 2 teams over the past, like, 2 weeks?
You're not wrong.
That's just it. And it's partially a compliment to Gary. I don't mean to take anything away from you guys. You've been playing very
Jeff
good.
Isom is 12-10 managing this team.
He's doing miracles with this group. But it also is an indictment on 4 other teams in this division. That's just why I can't take Lake Country seriously. You're beating up children.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, it's
yeah, it's so soft.
You see, I'll say that Fargo series, dude. There's so many wins. Milwaukee, King County, Lincoln for 4. And you could take at least 2 of 4 from Chicago, 2 of 3 from Chicago. Oh my God, there's like 2, 4, 6, at least 9 wins here. Like 9 and 6 is very realistic here, which could very well be enough. That gets you to 40 wins. I mean, like, they're going to fall just short because, like, if Kane County and Cleburne manage to not win another game the rest of the year, they don't deserve the postseason. And I hope they get shellacked, whichever one gimps their way in the first round. But any event, yes. So, like, they kind of deserve this. They're not going to get in because they waited too long to get rid of Lamar and make this turnaround. Which,
what have we learned?
We make moves in the beginning of the year in the off season, so that way we give our replacements actual time to do something. But you know, I still will always say I'd rather get the guy a little more time here and avoid putting someone on the unemployment line.
Yes, I agree.
Than shooting first, you know, especially a guy that this is his first managing gig. Now, granted, he had 3 years to do something and didn't, but still, regardless,
there's time for improvement. But sure,
exactly.
Actually, they went the wrong way, but yes, also,
and even still, fine, give him more room. Cool with it. But yeah, the East is just such a shit show right now that, like, a solid 3 of the 4 playoff teams really don't deserve to be here.
Yeah, not good.
And on the flip side, in the West, there's like 3 of the 4 absolutely deserve to be here, and the 4th one's like not looking so hot right now. But compared to what else is here, yeah, you guys deserve to be here.
Right? Yeah, that's a good way to say it. I can't argue with any of that.
Which, again, I beg the Joshes here. If you're going to keep the pick your opponent's system, have issues with it, but fine. If we're going to still allow 2/3 of the league to make the postseason, have serious issues with it, but fine. Please, for the love of God, do not limit the picking to inside your own division. I understand the travel. I understand the expense. I understand you're going to have ownership probably bitching to you.
Mm-hmm.
But for the quality of the product and the incentive of a playoff race, it improves significantly when we broaden the field. And so imagine right now if we were just saying the divisions don't really matter. It's just the top 8 that make it, right? So obviously the top 4 in the West are going to make it. And then right now, like country would be safely in, and Chicago would be looking fairly solid. But we'd have a bit of a race for that last 2 spot. We have 3 teams for it. We'd have Winnipeg clawing at a spot. You'd have Kane and Cleburne still there. And things would be kind of interesting amongst everything else. The 32 win teams wouldn't be completely out of it, but still be, outside looking in. And I mean, Gary's still, there, but probably, again, a little too late for that. You'd still just have, at least a bit of a race going on. And it'd be saying, hey, look, getting that top spot or that second spot really matters now. Because if you're Sioux City, you're going, hey, we could go ahead and take like Kane County, which isn't that bad of a ride, and is a way easier matchup if they make it. And on the flip side here, if you're now like the number 4 team and you're going to be sitting at like, say, being in Chicago, you're in your head going, Sioux Falls is vulnerable. We really need to pass them so that way we don't get stuck going to Cleburne, Texas. So it makes everything a lot more interesting because right now we know Lake Country's going to win this division. It seems pretty well established at this point. They're not going to pick Cleburne. Not going to happen. And that means they could go, we could go with the sub 500 Kane County team that isn't that bad of a bus ride, or we could go with basically the same bus ride, better Chicago Dogs team. I wonder who they're going to pick. And like Chicago, great. You get to host Cleburne, which is better than going to Cleburne, but it's like still, what the matchup is going to wind up being. And in the case on the flip side of the West Division, we got to figure out seeding here, and that still much is in flux. But like, we kind of know how this is going to shake out. It just kind of takes away everything that the choose your opponent system is supposed to provide, where like it's supposed to bring in chaos, it's supposed to bring in a little anarchy and make things interesting. But when it's kind of like, hey, you can pick from 3 teams and then the other matchup is what it is, it kind of makes it a little boring because it's like, there's not much to pick from.
Do you mind if I stream of conscious for a couple minutes? Because you got me a few thoughts there and I got a few things to point out, just making a plea.
Makes sense. Seems fair. I mean, go for it. I just did the same thing, so I can't really complain.
The first thing is if we're going to keep this format, we're going to keep the picking. If you're the number 1 seed, you shouldn't have to travel. You should get all the home games for the first round. I know it's like, but we lose our gate for that playoff game. You're not getting a good gate for your playoff game because you're finding out 2 days before who you're playing and where. So stop that. Because it's ridiculous that, like, for instance, last year, Cleburne was the number 1 seed, picked Chicago because, make them travel. But then, like, they immediately had to start on the road. So you're doing the same bus ride. So it doesn't make that much of an advantage for the travel perspective, depending on the situation. All right. The other thing, right? So if we're talking about why do 8 of 12 teams making the playoffs, what's justification? I'm trying to think through the options, right? So ticket sales, which again, I think must be overplayed because how many ticket sales are you getting done in the 2 to 3 days before the first round when you know where you are and who you're playing because it's settled so late? And when it comes to, it keeps people engaged because so many teams are still in it who wouldn't be otherwise. Okay, all I'm ever told when I'm talking about how important it is to be a good team is how only like 5 to 10% of fans actually care about the results and how the team is. And I'm like, okay, so are we doing this weird system which has some drawbacks just for the 5 to 10% of people who care about whether or not it's a playoff team? And like, what, for bragging rights for marketing, maybe the next year, but then again, how many people are going to see this team because they're good is a question, or because they made the playoffs. And what fraction of those people who are like, oh, I'm engaged in this, I'm interested because they made the playoffs, are that involved in it, but not so involved that they don't understand that, well, it's a below 500 team, so do I really care? I mean, if we're talking about the people who do care again about the result, okay, sure, but how does that make those fans feel of a team like Cleburne last year, who went 60-40, won the division by 5 games, dominated, got to pick their opponent, and then saw them get beat by Chicago in the first round? Or, I mean, even I'll push further on that one. I'll say, there's been other examples of teams losing to bad teams, or it just can go like if your team, after all that, loses a best of 3, which is a crazy small series, to a garbage team who only got in because of the format. That's where it's like, so do we care about the result, and are we marketing to those fans or not? And finally, we're talking about it makes more games matter, right? Because look, the playoff races are a lot more teams are in it, but does it? Because we're like, 16 games to go, and Lake Country just clinched a playoff berth. Sioux State just clinched a playoff berth. So do more games matter? Are we sure about that? That's what I'm like. Okay. And again, how many more times, unless you're like Quebec in the Frontier, are you like short notice is a huge game, sell out this ballpark? It's just not. I mean, Winnipeg maybe can pull that off. I don't know.
Yeah, Winnipeg probably could do it.
You know what I mean? Like, does that make sense? It's just a who is this for type of question. Is it for the owners who want to have playoff? Honestly, it could be. I mean, we've seen how many things are decided in other leagues, like the Atlantic League, based on who is cranky that they're not winning championships.
I mean, I could see it being just like a prestige thing for them. I also think it's also a more of a social media engagement point as well.
Maybe.
It's a league that's very big on that, which I think is a good thing. I mean, we talk about getting your product seen, getting the name out there. So I think generally that's good. But like at a certain point, we have to acknowledge when it's not helping the product on the field. Also, once we finish this conversation, before we swing on to playoff races, I have an update from something from our Stinger.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So we'll get to that in 1 second here. But I do agree. I don't really know what the play here is for at this point, where we continue to do it in the same way when there's ways we can improve it.
And the idea of picking your opponent is cool. Don't get me wrong. I don't think the execution's good right now. I think it's full of obvious decisions and again, like the thing, like mixed, mixed motivations. And again, I think it further complicates. Like right now, sure, Lake Country and Sioux City have an advantage because they know, like, they're going to have certain games in the playoffs and they can start selling those already. But like, if I'm, it depends on who you're playing. Like the 2 seed, I mean, Chicago was the 2 seed last year, so they would have probably assumed like, oh, we know what we're likely to do. And then they got picked by Cleburne to play. And it's like, well, okay, then maybe our schedule just changed a bit. So, you can clinch a playoff berth and still not be fully selling tickets. I know it's MLB's like that too, but it's not the same. You're not MLB. Like, you like to know, hey, these are the exact dates that you have, tickets. You can see how that works in the American or in the Atlantic rather. Sure, I don't like the 2-half system, but it's, you have months to sell playoff tickets if you win the first half. And you can see the difference in the crowd. That's a huge plus there. And like, if we're doing this partially just for, sake of promotion, there's other formats we could do that would get equally as much promotion from it. Yeah.
While not necessarily harming the integrity of things. I mean, like, we could even just go as far as just doing the ladder match.
Yeah, dude.
Could be the way to go on it.
I thought too.
And like, I hate to do a winner take all game because baseball's meant to be played in series. So you need at least 3 for me to be like, okay, I feel good about it. And 3 starts to complicate things logistically. But at the same point in time, it does give you more time to sell tickets if you are the better team. It keeps everything in one location, so you're not worried about multiple teams having to sell it. And hey, it's more incentive to win and win quickly.
Yep.
Do we have anything else on the American Association?
I don't think so, no.
Pioneer League's about to love this segue. Because we were going to go to Atlantic because that's what's on the page here. But I feel like we're going to segue to the Pioneer League right now. Yes, because here's why. In the beginning, we mentioned how, Rocky Mountain Vibes. We mentioned the Rocky Mountain Vibes and how they aren't able to provide housing to all their players. Well, good news. That issue has been sorted out.
Okay.
Bad news, it's been sorted out because they released the player.
Dude, and you know what? I was afraid that would happen because we spoke up about it, and now it's like, oh, you're causing a problem, and like, why would they keep you? And you know what? That was dumb. That's why I usually don't do things that feature players. It was obvious. And by the way, the fact that they didn't give him housing meant they were going to drop him anyway. But you know what? Guys you bring in for a few days is important how you treat them. Like, you can't just treat dudes like make them homeless for several days where you try to burn them off, use them for a couple games, then peace. That's amateur hour, dude.
It is. And it goes more and more to the theory on the league where shit's falling apart.
And they can say, oh, you don't understand the situation. He didn't understand the situation. You don't know. Dude, it shouldn't happen. Shouldn't happen. Leagues all across this country, it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Come on now.
And like, you mean to tell me you couldn't tell him up front? Really?
And it's like, oh, okay, language barrier. You're telling me no one
you don't have a single
operations it can communicate with a Spanish speaker? You have a baseball team. It's most of what you do. Like,
and if I recall correctly, this is the same baseball team that had a partnership with a Mexican league team.
Mm-hmm. Now, they haven't said that was the issue. I'm just trying to get ahead of the dumb responses I'm expecting here.
Our decision to release him was unrelated to any social media post. Okay, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Sure.
They're more related to the fact that, like, you've been rumored to be having this issue for a long time, and you said yes to pack another team in the ballpark, presumably for some cash. Now you have 3 teams playing out of the same ballpark, by the way, because you had the summer ball team that I hear is playing over there. So, whatever, man.
But Ryan, why do they need cash? What are you saying? I thought they were healthy. I thought they were healthy and fine. Surely a team like Rocky Mountain wouldn't be missing payroll or coming close to missing payroll on several occasions.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know I've never heard that from any player or person related to that organization or related to the Pioneer League, that there are several teams, including some in Colorado, that were coming close to missing payroll. I know I don't have a list of 4 or 5 teams that have come close or have missed payroll in the past 12 months.
So if Rocky Mountain's listening and they think that they've solved their talking to the indie ball guys, I will say, about their ineptitude, spoiler alert, it's a bigger issue than you think.
Yeah. So, I mean, like,
boys are tired of you. And if we're looking, by the way, if we're looking for next year, teams I'm hanging the Dunn chain on, I mean, Idaho Falls, Rocky Mountain.
Whatever.
Great Falls is a question mark, whatever the hell that is. NOCO.
Obviously.
I mean, that's 3, and that's skipping over Grand Junction is a question mark in my mind on a few things.
Serious question mark around there.
Then Ogden, we know, is hurting for money.
Yeah, but they'll be okay, I think.
All right. Another guy who's tight with ownership over in NOCO, by the way.
Yeah, I think Ogden's okay in the sense that I believe that community won't let them fail, at least not without some sort of a lifeline. It might not be enough to keep them long term, but I think for at least next year, that'll be fine.
Speaking of communities and failing, I will also shout out big week on the PR front for the Pioneer League. Now, Future Legends out in Windsor has stopped maintaining the field, so this whole deal with Windsor really came about selling. It was contingent on allowing the local town, which had given like 50 acres of land to this project, and I'm sure more kickbacks or whatever else, to make this thing happen. It was contingent on that, and now they're not even maintaining the fields anymore, so the community can no longer enjoy those fields as well. So that screws over youth sports all across that area. So once again, very nicely done from ownership on Future Legends.
How much do you think the Pioneer League likes us?
They don't. That's fine. Because I wouldn't be interested in working around the Pioneer League until everybody leading that league is gone. So what I said.
Oh, Billy comes back on the show.
They got some nice dudes run the show. Like, I mean, I think Henry's a nice dude. But, I mean, what are we doing? Is the league getting worse every year? Yeah.
I'm going to be very curious to see how many high quality like managers and baseball op personnel and whatnot from around this league are still here this time next year.
Well, fascinated by how recruiting's supposed to go because I'm doing a double check right now, doing my due diligence. Maybe they're bad at reporting it, but it's the type of thing to brag about, right?
Mhm.
I have them at 2 contract signings still this season. Contract purchases.
I have the same.
None since May.
If I recall right, they posted the May signings in June as well.
Yeah, May 28th, May 31st is the official transactions, both of them to the Arizona Diamondbacks. So you have managed to bridge the gap to one
organization 3 months
this year.
ago.
And remember, a big push on this was that the Pioneer League guys were getting picked up at a rate that was approaching the Frontier League.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we were talking about the Frontier League could be in some real trouble because the Pioneer League is coming up on them. And,
it's amazing.
Not good enough.
It's the Frontier League essentially just shoves Jersey and Brockton in a closet and says, you're not allowed to come out until you figure out what's wrong with you. They look way better ran.
I think Brockton will be fine, by the way. I mean, Augie Mojica really hasn't pitched since July. He's one of the 2 signings. Logan Mercado is playing with Visalia. I think he's still active and actually performing pretty well. So that's, so one successful jump, it looks like, from the Pioneer League to affiliated ball this year.
You know what's amazing? The Pioneer League could have avoided this whole dragging session by just letting this guy sleep in the clubhouse.
Yep. It happens a lot.
Not
great, but it happens. Yeah.
Just let the dude sleep in the clubhouse. If you're the GM of the team, let him sleep on your couch for a day or 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I think they have suites there.
Yeah.
Get a couch. Not ideal, but hey, I more organizations have done it than haven't. Affiliated guys have done it. I've seen it in Wilmington.
Yeah, I know some of the stadiums and whatnot I go to. I go up on the press level. I'm talking to guys. And I see the interns. They all just got their own suite that didn't sell that night. They're all just chilling there.
Yeah. Dude, I've slept in the suite in Wilmington, night game before a day game.
Yeah.
Because I lived an hour away. And they were like, yeah, makes sense. It's fine. Just don't make a mess.
I don't get it. You're already letting him into the stadium anyway. So what is he going to possibly do overnight?
And again, it's he already knew or was communicated or whatever. There's not really a reason. Here's my thing, by the way. Well, we already knew, or that there was a miscommunication. He wasn't really on the roster or whatever. He was already let go, whatever the case. Here's the thing before you start on that line, if that's the direction that somebody wants to go. Even if he's no longer with you, you've already let him go, whatever. As a matter of principle, you should still be responsible for him. He's an ESL dude who you just let go. At least make sure he's not on the street that night. Be decent.
Mm-hmm. Drag this poor guy all the way out there just to cut bait with him after what? Not even a game? How long?
Yeah, I wonder. That was the one I was going to do, and I got sidetracked. Let me see.
Signed him on the 11th. Went crazy on the 11th, signing guys too, by the way. Well, signed 2 guys and put 4 on irrevocable waivers. Looking great, Rocky Mountain.
Why'd you run out of space?
If any of the other many Pioneer League managers and whatnot that do listen to the show, because I know there's at least 3 or 4, I want to help this dude out, help the DMs. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend like other teams aren't doing similar things to their players. Definitely happens. Let's not pretend like it doesn't. But once it becomes all public and whatnot, it makes it shittier. And the fact you release the guy outright, and we're going to pretend like it's not related when it's related.
Yeah. The
shamelessness of it is what bothers me the most.
Yeah.
Almost as much as the action,
Yeah. There's so much that I'm shaking my head at on this one. I've shaken my head at the way Rocky Mountain does a lot of things over there. I kind of keep it to myself for the most part. But we hear rumblings all the time, and you kind of start to build a case, and just underwhelmed by the way Rocky Mountain handles their business, and I find it frustrating a lot of the time. They are 3 games off a playoff spot though, which is interesting.
Yeah. It's just one of those situations where it's like, you guys could do better. I mean, like, it would have killed you, even if you're planning on releasing him, to throw him $80 for a hotel room. Margins are that slim.
I would say yes.
Doing great, boys. Healthy league.
And again, we've said it before, not trying to dunk on the Pioneer League. It's serving extremely important function. It's an important area for professional baseball to find a way to thrive. I get annoyed because, frankly, it's not doing it. No. And honestly, again, in my few interactions with the league and people within it, the limited office they have running this thing, kind of been a what do you know type of vibe. And look, dude, I know a lot of it is because I was chirping early, not trusting the long-term intentions with the Oakland ownership. And you'll note when I'm wrong about something, I own it. And you'll note as well, I have not said I was wrong about that. We're keeping an eye there because I hear enough about things from the team they used to own, their 12th team, the one that beat Oakland last year. I hear enough to know to be skeptical of that ownership. And when that is also your best ownership in the league, clearly, dude, I'm frustrated by what you got going. So yeah, I'm going to be hard on you because you're not hard enough on yourself, frankly.
I was going to say, what, the guys that made their money in documentaries and for-profit education are looking like the class of the league when it comes to ownership right now.
Right.
And the same group here where with the 4 Oakland people had their players' apartments being broken into.
Right.
And their stuff stolen last year. Or was it just the one mugging? I forget.
I think it was multiple. Okay. But then on the other end, look, other leagues make missteps. We just roasted the American Association for a bunch, but we roasted them on their playoff format because at least we can talk about the playoffs there. They have a great playoff race in the Pioneer League, but now we're talking about this. We've had this moment before where we're like, oh, we should be talking about Oakland doing this or that, and now we're talking about this instead. It's frustrating.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like genuinely a conversation I want to have in the offseason is Gary's ownership like a top 5 in indie ball? Because right now they're making a lot of good points with both Mississippi and Gary.
Mm-hmm.
Where they're like hands-on enough to make the corrections needed, but hands-off enough to be like, no, I'm not going to touch the baseball sign unless the results aren't there.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like exactly what you want. Like, hey, yeah, no, I'm going to stay in my lane.
Meanwhile, how crazy is it that Oakland finally lost their losing streak by losing 16-1 to the Vibes? Good God.
Yeah.
Pioneer League on Pioneer League.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which I guess to go on to the play side of the Pioneer League, it's like Missoula is still right there. Ogden's on a heater. There is good play at the top. Like the top 4 teams, still very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's just so much like mid and mediocrity and just bad baseball.
Yeah. And the funny thing with it is if we're looking at when you're talking about the top 4 teams, you're talking about, Oakland, Missoula, Idaho Falls, Ogden. And Idaho Falls and Ogden currently hold the 2 wild cards, but like breathing down their neck is like Boise, who is 11-16 in the second half, Yuba, who is 11-16 in the second half also. Like this could be a messy end of the season, which I'm in favor of, by the way. I'm completely cool with that. I'm not complaining. If you're going to do a wild card race, make it wild. But yeah, just something to keep in mind. But what do we think here? I mean, here's my first one is who gets between Oakland and Missoula. Do you think Missoula's the most likely to get upset in the first round of playoffs?
Yes, based off of past history.
Yeah. And then if they both survive, what do you got, Oakland or Missoula?
I think Oakland's a better team, but I like Missoula a little bit better because I feel like it's almost a monkey off the back kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, you could argue it a little bit for Oakland, but there's not the depth. The lore isn't there. Yeah, I'm with you. I think that could be. Yeah, that feels likely.
It just feels like they're fairly comparable at the moment.
I agree. I mean, we sleep a lot on how good Missoula's pitching is, by the way, because the numbers aren't exactly as impressive all the time. Like when it comes to it, I mean, Oakland obviously is allowing far fewer runs than anybody else, but the fact that like Missoula in their run environment is allowing just 6 runs per game is pretty good. And I think if we even it out, I mean, to like, 100 is average type of scale. Oakland's pitching is a 128, so 28 above average points wise. And Missoula's a 166, which is the highest pitching staff above league average across the 4 indie leagues. So that's something to watch. And I know, betting on pitching in the Pioneer League is weird, but I think we can also agree neither of these teams are normal for the Pioneer League. So no. I would be ready for a weird series if Missoula and Oakland play each other.
It's also a series that I look forward to, though. Give me the two teams that know what they're doing on the field.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. It's going to be. I'll shout out one more Pioneer League thing. It's crazy. I'm watching all year. Yuba with their new ballpark. So it's fairly deep, and also, the ball doesn't carry there like the rest of the league. So again, park factor is how hitter or pitcher friendly a ballpark is compared to league average. So a league average ballpark, if it doesn't favor batters or pitchers, is 100 even. And this one right now, Yuba's ballpark is sitting at a 78, and like it's just crazy. It's so pitcher friendly. It's really funny. But part of it's because like a Yuba, their other games are like in Rocky Mountain and crazy places. That's just a nerd thing I like. I'm done, but it kills me.
Not sure about you, but I kind of am ready to wrap this up with the Atlantic League.
Yeah. My main take is Lancaster's hot as hell right now. They seem to be doing 7.5 dormers, but I'm going to caution everybody on that because this run has been Southern Maryland, Staten Island, Hagerstown, Staten Island, and then
Gastonia run.
Dude, guess what? But look at what's coming next. They got Lancaster again. They have Long Island, Gastonia, Hagerstown for a break in Staten Island, and then York before Hagerstown, then Lexington, Long Island. Like it gets tough. And I think they're not out of the weeds yet in this thing.
Now, what if I were to tell you? What if I were to tell you that I don't care about the Gastonia series because I do not believe in them at all? Mm-hmm. And what if I were to say the York series does little for me because while there is a rivalry and I think they'll play for that, and I think York is an overall solid team, they're also playing 500 baseball as of late, so they're not as intimidating to me. I will give the Ducks series a lot of credit because I think that's going to be a war and I look forward to it. But outside of them, nothing else there really moved me.
Long Island's back into the schedule, which again means less after what you just said, but they do close with so they start with Hagerstown and then Lancaster and then Hagerstown, and they go York for 6, Gastonia for 3, High Point for 3, both on the road there. And then home with Lexington, home with York, and then at Lancaster to end the season. So that could be an electric series to wrap this.
Honestly, I wouldn't sleep on the Hagerstown one. They struggled with them last time through.
Interesting point.
And what I'm about to say is extremely relative. I want that made very clear. I'm not saying they're good. I'm not saying they're improving. I'm just going to point this out. Relative to the majority of their season, Hagerstown's getting kind of hot. Half of their second half wins have come in their last 10 games. And they have 2 against Long Island. They look somewhat more like a real ball club. You're building off of that, and you got guys that are competing for winter ball contracts at this point, and maybe some Mexico vacations. I wouldn't necessarily sleep on those series being cakewalks. Long Island will still win. Don't get that mistaken. But I think they're going to put them to the paces a little bit. I think it's going to be a little bit more difficult this stretch for Long Island than against some other teams here. I think they're just going to have a bit more of a workout to get through this than others would have.
And when it comes to Lexington, Gastonia, with Gastonia currently leading by a half game, Gastonia had their sort of hot streaks broken here by losing 2 out of 3 to Lexington. They still have 3 left this weekend here, but I will say I feel like Gastonia is a good ball club. I think it is more likely if they continue to lose Lexington and lose this battle that it does not mean Lexington is good. I think it is more likely that it would mean Gastonia is actually an imposter. And so is Lexington. Like, I am still so kind of edge far out on Lexington and hesitant on Lexington that I'm impressed by what they're doing, but I am still like, dude, even if you beat Gastonia, I'm just going to assume Gastonia is like secretly pretty bad.
So what I said during the mid report,
I don't know. We'll see how these next few games go. If I'm honest, I'm still like waiting for this. I mean, they are first in their division still.
Can I just say,
and they're beating bad teams, which kind of means, I don't know.
Can I just say, last week before this series, I had said explicitly that series is going to tell us nothing because they're going to split it at 3 games apiece. And in a week from now, we're going to have the same exact conversation. And here we are a week from now. It's 2-1 in favor of Lexington with 3 more to play. And it's probably going to wind up going 2-1 in favor of Gastonia. So it's going to be split. So a week from now, we're going to have the same damn conversation.
I mean, yeah, probably.
I'm so ready in my head for Gastonia to limp in like a game and a half ahead of Lexington because they played a bunch of dog shit and Lexington got tripped up against like High Point for 6 games and dropped like some stupid game in there somewhere to like, I don't know, Charleston in a game they should have had. And then they're going to suffer from playing 6 of their last 9 games against Long Island and Lancaster on the road. I'm so ready for this. While Gastonia plays who exactly to finish, I just want to check to make sure. Because
I got you. They play 6 with Charleston, which they've already proven they can beat the hell out of Charleston, and 3 against Hagerstown, 3 against Southern Maryland. They have the easiest of the last 12 games of anybody.
I'm going to become the Joker when they only beat up these bad teams, get mopped by Lancaster and Long Island, those 2 series, and then like kind of show up in the Lexington series they have, and then just continue to beat the piss out of Charleston and Hagerstown.
I think this one stays close till the end. I think that last 2 week stretch for Gastonia, they're going to beat them. They're going to beat those teams in front of them. Just because they've already literally just proven in recent history that they can beat up those teams. And I think they're going to snap Lexington's heart. I think that's probably how it's going to go. And then they're going to get in High Point. High Point Silver has won, I think, 17 out of the 27 they've played against each other. I feel like that will likely continue. And then I think High Point will take on somebody in the North. Who knows?
I'm so ready for some bullshit to screw over Lexington. And the thing is, I don't even really care about Lexington. It just feels like they've been playing better between the 2 mids.
I guess. I don't even know how to feel about Lexington, man. I don't know how to feel about a lot of these teams. I mean, they're having the same thing a lot of these leagues are honestly having, where it's like, what does any of this mean? There's so many like middling teams right now where it's like nobody's getting consistent. The only consistent team is Oakland. They're just playing nothing but trash because the rest of the league is middling.
Independent ball is a lot like life in a way where either you have clear-cut winners and losers, or everyone just kind of stumbling through the dark, figuring out what the hell they are, while we all look on and try to figure it out. The slow march to rigor mortis.
Oh, yes, dude. It's almost playoff time, which is usually when I bring that out. Because everyone's stressed about playoff formats and everybody's stressed about what this is. And that playoff format talk was what prompted that talk.
We really have come full circle, haven't we?
Beautiful. It's beautiful.
So, you want to wrap this up?
Yeah, Indie Ball Nation on just about everything. Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. Hopefully got some stuff. I got tripped up, started a new job this week. So it just sort of, I decided I was going to drop a bunch of Monday stuff, sort of do a new series. I want to hold off on it because I didn't want to half-ass it completely. So I have got that going for Monday. It's going to be spread probably over Monday into Tuesday, coming out a video for each league for like a week recap. So I think people will like it. I've been talking to people about it. They've been enthusiastic about it. So yeah, we'll see.
Indie Ball Pod on Twitter, Indie Ball Report everywhere else. Going to try to keep up with the ballot reviews, and I have some other videos and stuff cooking right now. Going to be away for a week, so that's all going to slow down for a little bit, but we should be back up and running. And in like 2 weeks from now, once we get to playoff season, we'll have some playoff preview videos going up as well. We'll try to keep them around that 10-minute mark because it feels like that's easy enough for me to edit and record and get all that sorted out. And they still seem to get some good traction. Anything beyond it kind of is hard to get some traction. Anything shorter, it's hard to make it worthwhile to do because it's just not informative enough. So, something to keep an eye out for. Until next week, don't forget to play ball.